In this video, you're going to find out the best ways to get incredible last-minute cruise deals. Hi, I'm Gary Bembridge of Tips for Travelers and also the author of books like The Cruise Traveler's Handbook and Essential Cruise Tips. I'm going to share with you 10 amazing ways that you can get yourself a phenomenal last-minute cruise deal. The first and most important thing you should know is don't start looking for a last-minute cruise deal until at least 90 to 60 days before you want to cruise. The reason for that is that cruise lines require passengers to pay their final balance 90 days before the cruise. So those people who booked in advance have to pay the full amount. So 90 days before or 60 days before the cruise lines know how many cabins they still have to sell. That's when they start to look at putting on deals. Obviously, the closer and closer you get to a cruise, and the more cabins that are unsold, the more likely you are to find a deal. But do not start looking until at least 90 days before you want to cruise. The second critical thing to do is focus on non-peak times of the year. You're unlikely to find an incredible deal last minute at peak times like school vacations or holiday times like Thanksgiving or Christmas or Easter. The other thing you should do is avoid public holiday weekends. So take a look at the US or the UK or European long weekends. Have a look at when those public holidays are and avoid cruising around that time, because that's when people will take vacation and go on cruises. So you're less likely to find a deal then. The third most important tip is be flexible. The more flexible you are, the more likely you are to find a great last-minute cruise deal. So if you know there's a specific ship on a specific itinerary at a specific time you want to go on, you're probably not going to find a last-minute cruise. But if you know, basically, I want to go to the Mediterranean, I want to go to the Caribbean, I want to go to Central America, you have a broad basic region you want to go to, you're quite flexible about what cruise line, what ship you're on, that is going to give you the greatest chance of finding a deal. The more flexible you are, the more you're going to find an incredible cruise deal at the last minute. My fourth tip is to focus on really big embarkation ports, so ports where a lot of cruises sail from. So for example, Miami, which is the biggest cruise port in the world, Fort Lauderdale, Barcelona or Rome, those kind of ports, you have lots of ships sailing out of them, you have lots of cruises starting and ending there. So those are the ports to really focus on, because that's where most of the capacity is, that's where most of the flexibility is, that's where most of the competition is. So you're more likely to find a great deal. My fifth tip is when you're looking for a great deal, look at longer cruises. Clearly people like to go on 1 week or maybe 10-day or 2-week cruises, with 1 week being the most popular cruise of all. So the longer the cruise, the greater chance you are of finding a deal. One really big tip is to specifically look for repositioning cruises. Now, repositioning cruises are when the cruise lines move their ships from one region to another. It tends to happen twice a year, and it largely happens between the Mediterranean and the Caribbean. Repositioning cruises tend to have quite a lot of sea days and so are less popular. They also tend to be a little bit longer. Repositioning cruises tend to be slightly cheaper anyway on a sort of a per day basis. They tend to combine a couple of ports at the beginning and at the end, but there will be more sea days. People generally like cruises with lots of port days, so you're going to find the best deals on longer cruises and those with more sea days. My tip number 6 is take a look at what new ships are being launched and avoid them. So if a cruise line is launching a new ship in any particular year, you'll find those are very popular. Lots of marketing efforts put behind it. There's lots of publicity. Lots of people want to go on the new ship. So take a look at some of the older ships in that cruise line, because they are probably finding those harder to fill, particularly if they're adding capacity to the line. So take a look at some of the older ships, because you're more likely to find last minute cruise deals as everybody tries and goes on the new ship in the cruise line. So that's a great way of finding a last minute cruise deal. My next tip is also to focus on ports that are drivable from where you are. One of the things that you will find is getting a flight last minute is often quite expensive. Flight prices tend to go up the closer it gets to departure. So actually you might get a great cruise deal where you've saved a lot of money, but that's negated by finding a flight to the port, which is very expensive. So that's why I recommend focusing on ports that you can drive to. So if you're lucky enough to have a port which is drivable, or you can get there on a bus, you're more likely to find a great cruise deal, because you're not going to find that you're having to spend a lot of money getting to the port. Now, my 8th tip might sound a little bit ghoulish in a way, but one of the things that you should do is keep an eye on the news. Look for activities or events which may put off people traveling to a particular port. So if there's some kind of things happen at that particular port, a lot of people may want to cancel their cruise, and you might find there's much more capacity come on board. The reality is things happen and cruise lines are committed to certain itineraries, people may be reluctant to go to that particular region and fares will come down. Do make sure though that your government is still saying it's okay to travel there, and make sure that your insurance will cover you. So my 9th tip is a very important one. Make sure that you sign up for newsletters. Sign up for newsletters of any cruise line that appeals to you. Cruise lines use their email newsletters to push out activities and promotions, especially related to last-minute cruise deals. I've signed up for many cruise lines newsletters, and pretty much every week, almost every day, I get an email with different offers for cruises in the next 2 months or month, and you get great deals. There's a second option, which is also a great one, which is there are some online cruise agencies that are fantastic. They kind of collate and bring together all the deals, and they will send you out an email newsletter. 2 examples of those are in the United States. There's a site called vacationstogo.com, and another one which is based in the UK, which is called ROL Cruise, and they're at rolcruise.co.uk. So again, I would recommend sign up for those newsletters. You'll get a constant flow of great deals. And my last tip, and this is again an incredibly important one, is rely on your cruise agent. Get hold of your cruise agent, and I always strongly recommend that you have a cruise agent to book a cruise. Get hold of your favorite cruise agent, tell them that you're looking to go on a cruise in the next month, 2 months, whatever it is. Tell them what your budget is, tell them what you're looking for, and ask them to look out for deals. Now that's very important, because although you may be signing up for newsletters, getting other kind of alerts elsewhere, often cruise lines will talk to the agents when they have some capacity to sell, particularly agents that are very strong with any particular cruise line, and they may offer them sort of deals and promotions that they don't want to make that public. So your cruise line agent is very well connected to the cruise lines, and they're probably going to know special deals that you will not find out anywhere else. So there you are. That's 10 ways that you can get a phenomenal last-minute cruise deal. You know, cruising is a fantastic experience, and here's a great way if you have flexibility and you want to go on a cruise at short notice. Remember, be flexible and keep looking out for all those different ways of finding a great cruise deal, and you can go on a phenomenal cruise at a phenomenal price. Hopefully you found that helpful. If you have any other ideas or tips, please leave those in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, it'd be great if you left a like for the video, and please, very importantly, please subscribe to Tips for Travelers and get more travel inspiration, advice and tips right here on YouTube.